What is the price range for apartments in the UK? If you look at London, the difference between London and other cities is quite significant. Actually, London is a true international metropolis, and it is a golden city where global millionaires consider it a safe haven to store their money by investing in real estate. However, in other cities in the UK, the prices are relatively much cheaper. So you need to look at London separately. And London itself is divided into different areas, ideally by postal code. Sometimes even dividing by zones like Zone 1, 2, 3 is not very scientific, because even within Zone 1, places like Knightsbridge and Vauxhall are vastly different, as anyone living in the UK would know. So even within the same zone, the prices can vary greatly depending on where you are. To buy, but I think if you want to buy a 1 or 2 bedroom house in a decent area around £1 million, that's relatively cheaper. Actually, if you want to buy a new house in a good location, it might cost 3 to 4 million. However, many people consider that if they are not living there themselves, they don't need a prime location, and they hope to have a slightly lower rental yield, because the rental yield is your rent divided by your property price. So if your property price is low, the rental yield will be high. Therefore, some people move to relatively cheaper postal codes or outskirts to get a relatively cheaper house price, for example, around £600,000 to £700,000, and then rent it out. There are such cases, but if it's even cheaper, I think there's no need to invest in property. There are still many other opportunities. You can invest in other things. Otherwise, if you buy in a relatively poor location, because after all, the average price per square meter, especially in good areas, is very transparent. If you really find a great bargain, it definitely has various problems, which is why it's so cheap, such as having a particularly short lease or being an attic or basement, which is why it's so cheap. So don't think about finding a bargain in a particularly transparent market unless you have a very trusted broker or advisor who has been here for a long time to truly help you find such second-hand deals.
Opportunities like this are possible, otherwise it's likely that it's not something good if it's so cheap. I completely agree with your view that when it comes to real estate, because everyone's needs are different, some people even want their children to live here for a period of time. In this case, the house is not purely an investment or just an asset to look at numbers, because the house is also about connecting with family, and there's also this aspect. A place to invite friends to socialize. So you may want this house to have various features, such as your future workplace, which may be in line with your work environment and the tastes of your colleagues. In this way, your home will become a social center, which is also helpful for your future career development. A good location is always the first choice. This is true, no matter where you buy a house. Location, location, location.
Location is the most important.